Hey guys, it's Leesha, and today I want to talk about brands that I wish would make a comeback. So it is 2021. I have been in this makeup beauty game for a lot longer than I feel is possible, and it's been super interesting to see which brands have passed the test of time and which ones I feel are really not progressing and not moving forward, kind of stuck in their ways, and it's not working as well anymore. So I want to talk about some of those, and some of the ones that we're going to talk about today are ones that I absolutely loved, got me super into makeup, and just are not really hitting the bar anymore. And then other ones are some of like the opposite, where I never really was a fan and now they're completely thriving. So let's get into it. Oh, hi. I'm not in focus. Now I'm in focus. Didn't see you there. I'm just here as future Leesh asking you for a favor that you might have seen in my last video, but it's here again. I am working on a challenge to get the most Amazon followers that I can. Yes, Amazon has a way that you can follow me. If you want to go to leesha.live, or if you are just on the Amazon app, you can literally just search for Leesha and I will pop right up and click that follow button. I would very much appreciate it, first of all, but I'm going to be doing some giveaways with some Amazon gift cards. So if you want to take a screenshot of that and send it over to hello@leeshaland.com, you will be entered. It is that easy peasy. And of course, on my storefront is pretty much everything I've ever bought from Amazon. So if you've ever seen something in the background, or you're just wondering about certain things that I might have shown on Instagram or on here, it's gonna be on that storefront. You also can watch me on Amazon Live. I would really appreciate it. But yeah, so if you wanna help me out, do me a huge solid and go over to leesha.live or just search Leesha on Amazon, click that follow button, send a screenshot to hello@leeshaland.com. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, back to your video. The first brand, the immediate first brand I think of when I think of what brands do I wish would make a comeback is Urban Decay. Urban Decay was always this like really unique, off the wall, not afraid to try things or to name things that were, risque, so to speak. They had the bold colors. They did just, when Urban Decay was founded, it was all about like that kind of gritty New York subway, like just grit. And it was really cool, and it was super, super unique. When Urban Decay really hit their stride, I feel, was in the late 2000s, early 2010s, where they had the naked palettes, and those were obviously a humongous, crazy success. And I feel like that's the turning point, because Urban Decay was always really known for their fun, bright, bold colors. They had bright eyeliners. They had all these bright, beautiful, funky things, and the naked palettes were really the first big successful palettes that were, I don't want to say universal, but like the most universal, I guess, as far as like a neutral all-in-one kind of palette. Before that, single eyeshadows were really the main thing. There were places like MAC where you could get like a palette and create your own palette. But before the naked palettes, it really wasn't super common to have a huge like all-in-one palette like that, especially when it came to neutral colors. And I feel like ever since the naked palettes, Urban Decay felt like that was a train that they needed to ride until it crashed off of the tracks. And I feel like it's kind of done that. We've seen them take the naked palette, Naked Palette 2, Naked Palette 3, Naked Palette Smoke, Naked Palette Fire. I don't even know. It's gotten to the point where they're called naked palettes, but there's nothing naked about them. And the last big collection that they came out with was their Prince collection, which really many people, myself included, felt was not even remotely up to Prince standards or Urban Decay standards. It was a really big letdown. So Urban Decay is one that I feel like they were super popular on top of the world, and it's just really kind of not there anymore. Another brand that of course we have to mention is MAC. So MAC is one that, gosh, when I first got onto YouTube, which was like 2008, I remember when I was in high school too, like if you were not using Mac, like what was the point? I was a part of different groups, like LiveJournal groups, that it was like Mac or bust. If you were using anything other than Mac, it was like you were on top and you like looked down at everybody else if they weren't wearing Mac. At least that's how I was. It makes me want to vomit thinking about it now, but that was a pretty common tactic back in the day. Mac was it. Mac was so cool and different. You know, they had their Viva Glam, which was all about their AIDS charity, and it was off, like it was very unique. It was like very risque. It was bold. You know, they had RuPaul, which that was a while ago, so there was not as much acceptance as there is now with gay rights and drag queens and trans and all of that. So it was really, they were quite progressive very early on. They had the most bold colors. I remember some of my first eyeshadows from them was Sushi Flower and Electric Eel, which were these super bright pinks and this like crazy electric blue. So freaking cool. And MAC, you know, I remember there was the Barbie Loves MAC collection, there was Heatherette, there were all of these collections that were just groundbreaking. You would get in line, like I would drive out to the like super fancy mall in Arizona in Scottsdale, and we would wait in line to get the Barbie collection. We would get there like before the mall opened to get these things. You would go on the website early to try and get the collections because you knew they were gonna immediately sell out. I remember doing the thing where you would like compare colors that were in new collections with existing colors to see, like, to kind of be like, okay, you know, it's okay. They're different because this one has a little bit of a shift of green and the other one has yellow. So they're different enough to get both. Like, you justify so many things for this company. And so, you know, MAC was really on top of the game when the online beauty community really started to grow. So I feel like 2010, 11, 12 is when we really started seeing an influx of beauty gurus and like really seeing a lot of people explode on the internet and YouTube. MAC did not take advantage of this, and I really feel like that was their downfall. They had the same superiority, that's the word, superiority complex that I had, obviously on a much bigger scale, but they were above beauty influencers. They were above getting their hands into like these prosumers, I believe is what the word that was used on like a brand level was, where it was not just a regular consumer who just wants like a mascara and an eyeshadow. These were prosumers, that's what you would consider me, I guess, where they knew everything about the brand. They were obsessed. They knew all the colors. They did so many bright things. They followed everything the brand did. And I really feel like they dropped the ball at, like, they were on the Empire State Building and they dropped the ball. Like, that's the level that MAC has just crashed as far as excitement for them. It would be super cool to see them come back. And I feel like what they ended up doing too is they started releasing so many collections that it's kind of where we see ColourPop. ColourPop's been doing kind of the same thing. ColourPop's a little bit different because they are able to do contracts with different brands, like how they had Powerpuff Girls or Lizzie McGuire, or like they do a lot of Disney stuff. And MAC is one that used to be the one doing that. Another brand that I feel like I wish would make a comeback too is Inglot. Okay, so Inglot is one that is like, I feel like should be told as like, oh, like around like a witch, like it's like a campfire story of like, keep this tail so you don't end up like this brand. Okay, early 2010s, there was this brand that I found when I was in London called Inglot. I like went to this mall and found their store. They had, oh my gosh, this just gigantic display of eyeshadows, and it was so cool. And they were these bright, just creamy eyeshadows. Every matte shade they had was just this perfect formula. Their whole system was based off of picking your own colors and making your own palette. They had every texture ever. They had just these amazing sparkly color, like just amazing. Their stuff blew my mind. And I remember, and I'm sure a lot of you do too, I would come on here and talk about them all the time. I remember going to their store in New York and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on all of their products because I just was fascinated. Their eyeshadows were amazing. Their formulas were great. Everything about them was just so unique. And it was like MAC elevated for me. It was just incredible. I remember they were at the makeup shows and they had all these long lines, and it made me so happy seeing them getting recognition, because I really felt like they were such a great brand. They just had a lot of people excited about them, and I feel like they had a really good chance of becoming this super brand, and they didn't do anything about it. If they had gotten their product in the hands of different influencers, if they had gotten their, more advertising, there's so many things I feel like they could have done to really push their name and really get like a lot of talk and buzz about them, and they just didn't. And they've kind of just disappeared. I never hear about them anymore. The last I heard about them was a couple years ago. I actually had a call with one of the CEOs, and I was excited and all this stuff, and nothing happened. Nothing new was coming out, nothing exciting. Anything new they were coming out with was just, it didn't feel fresh. It felt kind of like the same old. So they were a brand that, God, I was so excited about them. I had such high hopes for them, and then nothing came from it. So that was definitely a giant bummer for me. Couple others that also kind of I start thinking about that really had like a lot of potential to get huge. Vizar, I'm not sure which way you say it. I pronounce everything wrong, so you can yell at me in the comments. They had some amazing palettes that got a lot of buzz for a couple of years. Again, they came out with these really cool pro palettes, and I bought one a couple of years ago, and it disappointed me so much. I was so upset about it because their advertising was all about how it was just new formulas and like this amazing, never before seen sparkle, like triple sparkle. It had all of these like buzzwords, and I totally fell for it. And then it was crap, and I used it like twice, and it was like a $300 palette. So, I mean, this is also partially me being bitter about that, but man, they had a lot of potential too. And they had like Natasha Denona prices for what they had too. So it was like crazy, but nope, they kind of just fizzled out as well. Nars is another one that was so popular back in the day. Oh my gosh, do you guys remember when like Orgasm Blush came out, and it was like, it was such a scandal because it was orgasm or deep throat. Oh my gosh. And now, who cares? You know what I mean? There's so many indie brands now that like any kind of shock value things, it doesn't have it anymore. And I feel like that's all Nars really had, was the shock value. I do say that though. And like, granted, the only mascara I tend to use anymore is the Nars Climax mascara, the Climax and the Climax Extreme. I actually do need to get new ones of those. So, I mean, I would just love to see some cool stuff from Nars. I remember being really excited about their eyeshadows, things like that. They kind of fall in the same boat with their eyeshadows, at least. And I guess it's not like Inglot, because it's not really like Inglot, but there are eyeshadows I don't get excited about either. I used to, and I thought the sparkle in them was so cool, and it was one of those things that looked cool in the pots or in the pans, and then it didn't really deliver when you apply it. So Nars is another one. One that just came to mind was this brand called Illamasqua that I was just, they are a UK brand. They were unreal when they first came out. I was so into them. They had such unique stuff, really, really cool things. And they were another one that like got the hype and then just disappeared. Those are the ones that are coming to mind for me. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking as far as brands that you wish would make a comeback, or brands that you remember being so popular and now they kind of just fizzled out and don't seem to exist anymore. I'd love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out, subscribing, liking, all that jazz, and I'll see you next time.